On this edition of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast, racism through the eyes of two young Alberta baseball products. Welcome to episode 94 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. It's hard to put into words what we're experiencing in the world right now. The death of George Floyd and the subsequent rallies and protests have sparked a movement many in our generation have never seen. As we've been watching, Ian and I have had numerous conversations about the best way to approach it from an Alberta perspective as well as a baseball perspective. While some might think we don't need to go down this path, we feel silence is not the way to go either. It's a conversation that is happening in every facet of our lives, and this sport is no exception, especially as you watch many athletes coming forward with their own stories. One thing I read recently really resonated, and it goes, quote, "For a long time, fear of saying the wrong thing kept me from speaking out, but the fight for racial justice is too important for any of us to stay silent. We here at Alberta Dugout Stories believe in equality for all and stand against racism unequivocally." We're going to start this episode off with Spruce Grove's Leron Smith. He's been on the podcast before to talk about his journey in baseball. Then he came back in February as he was getting ready to go to spring training with the Minnesota Twins. He's been back in Alberta for the last few months, waiting out the COVID-19 pandemic and training at Dogs Academy in Okotoks. This past weekend, he tweeted out a video as he took part in a Black Lives Matter vigil in Calgary. So we reached out in hopes of getting his perspective on the world right now and the conversation that we, as a society, are now having. Leron, thanks so much for joining us again on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start off with the news of the day. All the rallies have been taking place around the world. What goes through your mind when you see what's happening from coast to coast, even within, the place where you grew up here in Alberta?
Just like what really just like brings kind of joy to me, I guess, because of all this is happening and all the awareness is finally happening. It's like just that everybody gets to see kind of a little bit from what our eye, like from like Black people and just Black figures, and like just get to see kind of a little lens into our kind of world, which is kind of nice to see, and just like everybody just kind of respecting it. And like obviously you get the few here and there that don't really see it and can't really, and it's like tough to kind of push that onto them. But like for most part, everybody here I've ever talked to, all my friends I've ever talked to, like they all just kind of see it and they're really understanding. I guess that's the best way I could put it.
You were at the rally in Calgary over the weekend. What did it mean to you to see people standing up for this cause?
It was like, it was heartwarming. It kind of touched like me deeply. It was definitely like a new experience. I've never really felt that. Kind of truly seeing like everybody come out, doesn't matter what race, doesn't matter what color, doesn't matter whatever. Like coming out and just supporting one thing, and it just really, really like was just so surreal.
As a young man in Canada, born here, what's your experience been like when it comes to racism?
It hasn't been it's very far and few and stuff like that. Like it hasn't been directly like pushed on me all the time, and like I could really feel it, but like just being like the only person of like color on like most of my baseball teams and most of like all through my life. And it's just like in sports, it's a little different because usually doesn't matter what race, what color you are, like it's a family type of deal. So I never really felt it, but like I can definitely see whenever we travel, you'd get like, I could see different looks in different areas, and police officers or something like that just giving me different looks than others. And it's just like a kind of like a dark cloud type of deal. Like you just have that feeling, but it's not really like it's right in my face type of thing.
Is it noticeably different in the US versus Canada?
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't have my car down there, but like I have a lot of friends who drive, and they're people of color too. And it's just like, you can just kind of see like they get a little more nervous when cops get around, or just like when you see just walking around stores and malls and stuff, you get different looks from people, and you just kind of gotta blind it out a little bit, I guess. But here in Canada, it's a lot more subtle, I would say.
In a good way, you'd say?
Yeah, I would say in a better way, yeah. Because I feel like Canada's definitely more evolved in the sense of like more accepting of everybody.
What's it like from your perspective to see your fellow athletes, but not just, one or two? I mean, Kaepernick kind of got it started, but now you're
Hmm.
seeing different athletes from different walks of life, from different backgrounds, all stepping up and saying, all right, enough's enough.
Mm. It was good. Like, I'm just like honestly with the whole Kaepernick thing, I was just more glad to see that everybody understood now why he was doing it, not just because it was an attack against sports or against the veterans or against the flag. Like, it was just like you can even see, even if you go back, you can see that like we tried all the options, and then finally he does something to the extreme, and it finally gets people's attention, and it's but like it got it all for the wrong reasons at the time. So it was tough. It's tough to like kind of like look back and be like, oh, they did that, and now they're noticing. Now they see why he was doing it, and like
Mhm.
they can't really do anything about it. So it's just tough to see that he lost all. Like he gave up everything kind of to just get the word out, get the view out of what was really going on.
What's the tone of the conversations like over text or Zoom or whatever the case may be with teammates, with fellow ball players, as you not only try to navigate the world of COVID, but also trying to have that conversation about what's going on in the world right now?
Yeah, yeah, like, and like I said, like, like, when you join a team, you kind of become a family. So, like, I've had a few people reach out and just say like, "How you doing?" stuff like that, and like, and it's really good to see. Just they really want to like kind of figure out from my view and stuff like that, and from other teammates of mine, like of people of color, just like like getting their view and their viewpoints and getting to see kind of what it was like for them, and it was just good, really good to like just have those people reach out and like just want to talk about it.
What's your main message to those who might be listening to this podcast and saying, I still don't necessarily get what's going on?
Just reach out to I just say reach out to people of color. Reach out, just really, really try to figure out research. I know there's a lot of biased stuff out there right now, and a lot of, but like really just try to find just research and stuff like that about this, and like I understand, like, and like really understand that, like, because I know everybody loves to say like all lives matter, and like you got to really understand that it's not just because we're keying on one point doesn't mean we don't care about everybody else.
Mhm.
And like I saw a really good quote was it was on a protest, it was at a protester's banner,
Mhm.
and it was saying like all lives don't matter until black lives do. And I was just like kind of, I really saw that, and I was like, wow, that's exactly kind of the like what people need to understand.
Absolutely. It was one of those things. I looked at it. I saw another meme very similar. It was
Hmm.
when the Boston bombing happened, it was Boston strong. It wasn't all cities strong, right?
Exactly.
And so there's that
Exactly.
mindset there that has really kind of, I think, changed the dynamic about this. And does it
Hmm.
take you by surprise a little bit that, it's taken so long to get to this, I'll call it boiling point in a sense, that we're actually finally having that conversation, maybe getting a little honest with ourselves about it?
Hmm. Yeah, it's really surprising, like, because I still remember back in the day always seeing these videos of like the police brutality, and like I'm just seeing that, and like no one wanting to talk about it, and no one wanting to like say anything or bring anything up, and just like now that it's kind of out there to the point where we cannot not talk about it and not face the facts and stuff like that. It's just crazy that it took so long. That's the thing. Like you said, the boiling point, and it finally reached there, and it's an explosion now.
When you're growing up in Alberta, did your parents teach you much about the racism side of things?
Oh yeah, my mom would always always bring up like especially like cops getting pulled over and stuff like that, and just kind of how to act, and always be respectful, always ask for like to do something before doing it and stuff like that, and just kind of making sure you just kind of follow the guidelines so you don't, so nothing bad happens, or like making sure you're always respectful to everybody to make sure that they don't treat they think of it as a threat or something like that.
Do you talk to your brother much about this kind of stuff too?
Oh yeah, all the time. Like, so well, when we were young and we were in the same household, it was pretty much like she would sit us all down and just just go right over all the all the stuff we need to know. And like him being down there in the States for a lot longer than I have, and I just kind of asked his experiences and stuff like that. And like, it's kind of the similar thing, just here it's more subtle, and then in the States you definitely get the views and you get the looks, and you just get the different type of chatter as soon as like they start talking to you compared to somebody else.
How challenging is that from an American perspective, trying to be the bigger man, take the higher road, so to speak?
It's tough. It's not the easiest thing, because sometimes you just want to just start yelling or something like that, but you just really gotta kind of wear it. You kind of eat your words and just take the high road, in that sense of like, you don't want to create something bigger than it has to be, type of thing. Like, you might get a lot of people talking, you might see a lot of people talking to you and stuff like that in different ways, and you just gotta just wear it, and kind of just think that they've been taught like that since they're a young age. So it's tough you can't really do nothing about it, type of deal.
I was listening to a podcast with Jerome McGinley over the last couple of days, and he was talking about sort of the unwritten code of hockey, which is, you don't bring race into the discussion. Do you get the sense that baseball's in the same kind of vein? Sports in general might be in the same vein, as you can go after pretty much anything, but skin color is definitely not one of them.
Exactly. Like, that's exactly how I'm glad he brought it up like that, because him being such a big time NHL like player, especially of color, and like having so many years in the NHL, it's great to like hear from like that stuff. And like there was recently stuff put out from Torrey Hunter, so he was also in the Twins organization. And just, it was really cool to like, or I guess not really cool, but it was nice to see that he finally started to say stuff about it, and like his experiences at different ballparks and with fans and stuff like that, and still like him being a popular name at the time, and like just like seeing that he still got treated differently it was eye-opening and stuff like that. So
you mentioned the Torrey Hunter story, but do you find yourself reading a little bit more from the athlete's perspective?
Like, honestly, ever since this really happened, I've been looking at everything, type of deal. Like, I didn't want to be the one trying to push my own views and stuff like that without having any facts behind it. And like, obviously, when I see a sports story, it makes me just like hurt a little inside, because like it's just so deeply connected with me. So like, seeing that, it really like kind of I just really wanted to just like just really get to like talk to him more or something like that, or just like figure out more. Just kind of, it was just tough to see, type of deal.
Has there been one story or one analogy that's really stuck out to you over the course of all your readings over the last few weeks here?
Just honestly, they were at the Candlelight Vigil. So like in Calgary here, they were reading off names, and like, yeah, it was the names, obviously, like, and it was just like tough to like pill to swallow. But really, what was the toughest part was just hearing their ages, hearing like how young they were, and how like they never even got a chance to experience a full life. And it's just really tough to like pill to kind of swallow. And so, taking away color and stuff, you just got to realize like people, like, it's kids getting killed too. It's not just like criminals, or it's not just people of color. It's like, it's kids and young people and young men and young women. And it's just crazy to see. And that's like really the toughest part for me to swallow, type of thing, when I was at that little Candlelight Vigil.
It seems as though sports are a bit of a refuge. It's one of those places that is, all encompassing. If you can play kind of thing. How integral has that been in your eyes, being able to escape the realities of the world, I guess, is the way to put it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said, it was like a safe haven. Kind of getting there, and like me noticing out right away, like, okay, I'm the only person of color on this team, and just like thinking that I might be treated a little different. But like, as soon as I got there, as soon as they saw I could play, as soon as like it just became so close knit and such like a family oriented thing. Instead of like people seeing that I'm a colored kid, I'm now just one of the guys, one of the teammates. Like, it's just such a safe haven type of that deal of like, it's like love just all around the team. And like whether like it doesn't matter highs or lows, like everybody just loving each other and stuff like that. So it was really good. It's like a really good like escape, I guess, as you said, from reality.
Have there been situations in the past on the field where the racist card was played, whether it be from fans or opposition?
I would say it's happened like once or twice from fans, but nothing to the point where like I could not focus on the game because of what they said. There's been maybe a few like of opposing teams whenever we travel to the States and stuff like that, but you just kind of, you got to take the high road. You can't really stop a game in mid play and try to pick a fight with some guy who's calling you names. It's just, you just kind of wear it and just obviously just try to outplay them, and that's how you prove them on and off the field.
One of the stories I heard was from a younger player here in this province who was called out for his skin color, and he said that added motivation, and they ended up winning a championship out of the deal. I mean, it can prove to be a bit of a motivator as well for those who are targeted, and especially if the team's got your back.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing. Like, whenever it happened to me, like my team would hear it, and they'd be, let's say if I was playing third base and the guy was yelling from second base, my shortstop would be just step in and be like, yo, you don't say that. Like, that's not how you do things here. And then like him just backing me up or something like that, I just really felt like, okay, this, like, I'm about to show it on the field. I'm about to take this and show it on the field. Maybe even get us a win, maybe even just do whatever I can to kind of prove that person wrong.
Mm-hmm. I want to switch gears just a little bit, because right before all of this played out, we had COVID, and it kind of got in the way of you being able to strut your stuff on the field again. So I wanted to get a bit of a status update on how has the bounce back from injury been, and how did things go prior to COVID shutting everything down?
It was good. Like I was really just like happy that me and my family and like all my closest friends and family, like just they're all healthy and just strong, and I really just, that was the biggest thing kind of with the whole COVID. It wasn't me not being able to play, it was just, will everybody be safe type of deal. It does suck obviously that we were off the field and I can't be playing, I can't be showing what I wanted to show this year, but I just kind of take it with a grain of salt and just get ready for the next season, and I guess that's going to be my come out year.
I know you've been keeping up with as much as you can on the physical side of things. What kinds of things have you been up to try to stay in shape while you're waiting for the green light to be given again?
I was very fortunate to get like my own little type of home gym setup type of going. So I've been really just hitting that as hard as I can, running every once in a while, trying to get the fresh air from being cooped up inside all the time. So yeah, just pretty much whatever I can with whatever I got type of deal.
You focusing on anything in particular as you get closer and closer to maybe returning to the field?
Really just kind of honing the whole catching. I remember like we talked about this prior in prior podcasts. It was just like it's being a new position for me, just really trying to get that down, because I know that my swing will play but I just got to get on the field with the defense.
Laurent, appreciate the time. As always, thanks so much for sharing your story with us.
Sounds good. Thank you.
After the conversation about racism started up again, it got me to thinking about an episode we had with Connor Pote late last year after he was named a Baseball Alberta award winner. I asked him about the highlight of the year for him, and it was a specific game at a tournament in BC where he said one of his teammates, Jose Nunez, had been the target of what he called some disrespectful things. He didn't get into it too much, but it led me to reach out to Nunez to see what was up. He was born in Honduras, and his family moved to Ontario when he was 8. A few years later, they made the trek to Alberta, where he's been playing with Dogs Academy. In this chat, we talk about his upbringing, his love of baseball, and about racism. Jose, thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your story.
All right. So I was actually born in Honduras, so it's a small country in Central America. People there are very humble, very hardworking. Fortunately enough, my family worked really hard, and they were able to provide us with a good childhood. Growing up in private school, that sort of thing. But again, with that, my dad's employees weren't so lucky. So I got to see both sides of the equation there. Got to see what the world is really like, all the hard stuff, all that good stuff. You know, and then I moved to Ontario. Played there in Burlington, Ontario. Played there at Steed Academy, along with the Burlington Bulldogs. Then we decided to chase the oil here to Alberta.
And obviously, you ended up with Dogs Academy. How did that opportunity come about?
It actually, I would say it started my Pee Wee second year. So that's when I really told myself, hey, if you really want to do this, you have to work hard. So I met a guy down in Edmonton, Riley Ross, and I'll never forget the day he told me, he's like, my biggest regret is not working hard when I was young. And so from that day on, I've just been absolutely scared of death and dying with regrets. And so we trained super, super hard that off season, and basically evolved, from a small chunky kid to a more developed player, to where that Pee Wee second year season, which I believe would have been 2017, I was ready to go. Right off the bat, Josh McKinnon, the coach for the 13U Pee Wee Dogs, he told me, hey, you're coming to nationals with us. We want you to be part of the team. And, I took that responsibility with heart, with everything. And we led the team to the first ever Albertan team to win a game at the 13U Nationals, where later they invited me out to the Bantam tryouts. Right away, they're like, yeah, we want you to stay here. And so we decided to make the move. My dad and I, we stayed out in Anchorage for 6 months. The family was split. We're actually from up north, so we were about 4 hours away, both sides of the family. And eventually we moved to Chestermere, where now we're all back together. So
that is fantastic. Talk a little bit about what got you into baseball in the first place.
My first baseball experience was in Honduras. So it was a small club, maybe about 30-ish kids. It was just very humble people, very hardworking kids playing the game for fun. From there, after that, we moved to Canada, and I kind of stopped playing for a little bit. But there in Burlington, we got some cheap gloves. We started playing with my dad, and it evolved into me trying out for the team there. I was the last pick on the team. And again, I just fell in love with it and worked hard with it. So
kind of sounds like you quite enjoy being a bit of the underdog in a sense. Even if you're the last one that's picked, you're going to go out there and give it all you got.
Yeah, it's just the way I was raised, right? From everything in my life, it's been work your way from the bottom to the top. So that's the way I like to live my life. It's if you're doing something better than me, I'm going to go and try to do it better than you. So
any highlights so far in your time with the Dogs?
And for sure. So as a 15-year-old, we got to go down and play on the West Coast. We played, I think it was 12 universities. I believe 8 of those were D1s. And you know what? Definitely the game against Gonzaga. I went out there and pitched 2 innings. In my first inning of work, struck out 2. Definitely wasn't expecting that. Hit a new personal best with my fastball velocity. And that's kind of set the tone for where I want to be after high school, and where I want to end up possibly too. So
what's it meant to you to be able to play the game that you love and be able to do it at a level like this, and just be able to have that camaraderie with your teammates the way you do?
It's meant anything. You can ask anyone who isn't one of my baseball friends. They know that I'll bring them into this world of ball with me, and I've developed some friendships that are extremely strong, some good habits. So for me, it's been everything. It's taught me to be the way I am today. It is who I am. It's everything about me. So
wanted to talk a little bit about a conversation that I had with a teammate, Connor Pote, back in November, I believe it was, and I asked him about, single highlights of the 2019 season, and he said that there was a game in the Langley tournament where some stuff was being said and being disrespectful towards you. And I don't necessarily want you to single out players or anything like that, but give us a sense from your perspective as to what happened during that game.
Yeah, for sure. So this story actually starts back in Kamloops, right? Let me set the tone for you. It was a semifinal game in Kamloops. Both semifinal games were going on at the same time. The teams were, I mean, we could see the other field from where we were, and they could see us. Both games were close the whole time, which led to them both being in extra innings. So we had, and I don't want to say this, but we had three really, really good arms on the bench. And whereas the other teams were running out of arms, we knew we had to do everything we had to do to win that game. So I think we put our top three guys in. So it started off with Connor. We wanted him to lock the game out, but he worked his, I believe it was 2 innings of work with 6 strikeouts. Both teams are going back and forth with their best arms, and their arm gets taken out. So then they put me into the game. I go out there and do my job, but I believe I hit a pitch limit just like Connor. So then we put Carter Anderson in, and so now they have runners on first, second, and third, and they're about to win this thing. And then Carter gets a laser right back to him. We got a double play. We get out of it. We end up going to win the game. We win the game, right? And so we're the first team in the finals. Whatever, we end up winning the tournament. And then on our way home, we're looking on our Instagram post, with our championship rings, and we just start to see like comments flooding and flooding and flooding. And we're like, something's not right here. And there was some comments coming from that West British Columbia team that were, just out of place, bad sportsmanship. No, there's no other way to put it than just disrespectful. And then one of their teammates decided, hey, Jose sounds like a Spanish name. Let's generalize him with a couple bad apples, and let's just absolutely flame him for no reason, and call him this word that I'm not going to say live on air, along with other things. And it's kind of like, the team sees this, and then immediately from there, they became our rivals. We were going to do absolutely everything to stop this team. And so now fast forward to Langley, same situation, quarterfinal game. We're playing under the lights. Everyone's watching. Everyone's ready to go. And it's a really strong team that we're playing against. And fun fact, before the game, we were kind of waiting there to kind of talk it out with them before the game. They didn't want to do nothing with us. They were being disrespectful. They didn't want to share the batting cages. And we were going to talk it out with them, like human beings, like people, normal people would do, but they just didn't give us that opportunity. So then during the game, the lights are on, the sky's dark. There's probably about 200 people in the stands waiting for this game. And it starts going back and forth. The coaches didn't know what was going on. And we just played differently. And we, both teams battled the whole game to defend, me to defend their teammate that said the comments. And I cannot explain to you the excitement, everything that was going on in that stadium at that time. It was definitely crazy for sure. So fast forward through the game, I believe it was a 1-1 game all the way to the 7th inning, and they just had to score a run on a blooper there, and everyone's down, upset, and the game goes into extra innings again. So this is our second game against them. Extra innings again. Both arms are in, and then so they're running out of arms now because they need to save arms for the semifinals and the finals. And Connor Poe comes up to bat, and they decide to do a pitching switch. I mean, and so Connor comes up to bat, and Connor being my best friend, he's there always to protect me. Just how teammates are, right? If someone says something towards your teammates, he's going to be there to protect you. And the next thing I see is, the kid that said all these things is coming up to pitch, and Connor's up the bat, and I'm like, something bad is going to happen. And if you've ever played at that Langley Stadium, it's large, it's big to center field, and it's got a giant batter's eye in the middle of it, right?
Yep.
So Connor's up the bat, it goes quiet. The next thing you hear is whoosh. Connor explodes the ball off the top of the center field wall. We get the lead. Next inning, they get the lead, and then we end up closing out the game. And actually, the coaches throughout the game found out what was going on. And of course, Alan Cox, Lou Pope are there to have our backs. We're their players. They're willing to do whatever for us.
Must have meant a lot to you to have teammates stand up for you like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It meant a lot. It really showed who we were, and what we were there to do, right? We did everything for the right reasons, and it really showed the character of the guys on our team, and I believe we went undefeated actually for the rest of the season after that. So it totally brought us together. Showed me who some of the quieter guys on the team were. They definitely let their game speak for them that day. That's it basically there. Just brought us together.
Was that something that you had seen before, the racism side, the ugly comments like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not something that you can compare with with what African Americans are going through in America. It's not something you can compare with what happened to First Nations people in Canada. But it is something that does hurt my heart, right? So what really hurts me and what I see a lot is, the insensitive comments that people make that I don't think they realize can actually, hurt someone. You get the, go back to your own country or, this and that. I'm not going to say on air, but you do see these things, and I've seen it from teachers, from sadly teammates, friends, and it's something that I would say I'd see at least a couple times a week, and I believe the issue is that people don't even know that they're saying it, right? So that to me is what I see. Of course, not to bring it to a bigger degree than what it really is, but it still is a problem.
Is it something that you kind of open your eyes to after something like that happens? Is that you kind of look at the world through a different lens and maybe start to understand it maybe a little bit more and start to realize that, hey, this is more than just a one-off incident?
Yeah, I would say beforehand, I was kind of already aware of what was going on in people's hearts, but for sure to see such a small baseball game, right? Such a Western baseball in Western Canada. We're friends from all the way from BC to Alberta, and just to see, that bad group of apples, trying to ruin those friendships and those bonds, it was eye-opening for me for sure. That this still is a problem that will continue to happen, unfortunately, and there's no way to change it other than than making them aware of what they're doing, because I personally believe that they'll say these things without realizing how it could really harm someone, and that's what it is to me.
Hmm. When you were growing up, was this something that your parents or your family tried to keep you aware of, to make you understand that, hey, this might be something that you're targeted for at some point down the line?
Absolutely, yes. You know, even when I first moved to Canada, my first experience with racism, the first thing I went and told my mom. She had a conversation with me and who I thought were my friends at the time. And she basically explained to us, hey, you know, the world is not nice, very not a very nice place, and unfortunately, you'll see things like this. You know, and they've experienced racism too. Um, you know, they went to high school. My mom went to high school in the States, and she experienced racism there. So it's kind of something that before I came to Canada, that we had to talk about. We did sit down and, you know, explained how it could affect and how we could overcome this together. So
How important is it in your eyes to be able to have some of these difficult, sometimes awkward conversations and allow us to open up maybe a little bit more?
you know, I think it's super important, right? Baseball is a sport for every race, every gender. Um, However you may identify, you can play baseball. And I think more and more we start to see different cultures and different religions start to play the sport. You know, I went from having no foreign teammates on my team to now having, you know, 10 different guys in the academy who were born elsewhere. And I think for sure people are becoming more accepting of it and less judging of your skin color when you have your uniform on, less judging of your gender when you have your uniform on. You know, you see Ellie Jesperson, everyone's extremely um, inspired by her because she's able to go out and do what she does despite, you know, the way that people may look at her, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's one of the best players that I've met in Alberta. And it's all because when she puts her uniform on and when her team puts her uniform on, we're all the same and we're all here for the same thing, right? And I think that's where baseball in Alberta for sure is heading with a more diverse community in the for sure.
Final question for you. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
Ooh. Uh, well, it's my life, right? It's the game of baseball. I guess you can't put a price to it. Over the last 2.5 months without baseball, it really showed me, you know, what life is going to be after it. And unfortunately, it's going to be a thing one day where I don't play baseball. But while I have it, it's going to be everything that I do. It's going to be everything I pour my heart into. And I don't ever want to stop playing, right? So,
Jose, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing your story and joining us here on the podcast.
yeah, absolutely no problem.
Again, thanks to both Laron Smith and Jose Nunez for joining us and sharing their respective stories. We'd also like to thank all of you for downloading and listening. If you have a story idea or a podcast guest you'd love to hear from, drop us a line on any of our social media platforms, and you can always email us as well at albertadugoutstories@gmail.com. Until next time, thanks for all of your support, no matter the platform, of Alberta Dugout Stories.